All right, we're here with Mark Huber, VP of Marketing over at UserEvidence. I know video is like a big play with your marketing strategy right now. How do you kind of think about video content in your marketing strategy?
I'm really bullish on it because we were talking about this the other night. I think it's still very early stage for B2B companies. We're trying to figure out how we can design video in feed, do things differently, capture people's attention and keep them where they are versus trying to send them to go out of LinkedIn or wherever they're going to be. Most importantly, just trying to do stuff like differently with a unique hook. This is the second time we've done this. I know I've been crazy pumped at how it's turned out. I'm really bullish on it moving forward.
And we're not saying like get rid of ebooks, right? Like
No. We literally just launched a gated content
That's what I'm
download. Here's a perfect example. Like we had the research report that we launched. We had people that we interviewed. They were then commenting on the ebook or the report, and we're using video to do so. So I think there's ways that you can cross-promote content on video and get people's reactions. And I think there's really a time and a place for everything. Nothing's truly dead. If you think it's dead, you're probably not doing it that well.
A lot of people think that video is an either or. You're doing video, so you can't do guide research style content and you can't do other stuff, but they're all different distribution channels and you can cross promote and it plays into each other. What are some of the impacts beyond just generating content?
We have a couple trackers set up in Gong. I should set one up that's specific to this event after we leave Drive, but like we do hear it come up on sales calls as well. So that's not something that's going to show up in a dashboard, but it's something that I know our ICP is watching at the end of the day. If we're helping our sales team get in front of who they're trying to sell to and like do something that's memorable, that's a win in my book.
What's been the most surprising thing you've experienced since starting a new video strategy?
The amount of prep that goes into creating good video. Like we don't just show up and like hit record. I mean, you can do that, but the more prep that you put into it, the output is going to be so much better. I mean, we think of these interviews, like the amount of prep that we did for the Dave Gerhardt shoot on Monday when we were golfing. Like there was a lot of time that we were putting into this. You were, and thankfully you did this, like kind of tearing apart how I was asking some of the questions because we wanted to make sure that they were written in a way that was going to get the best response in the shortest time frame. So I feel like I'm getting better at it.
A really good example of this is looking at our first project at Spring, right, to now, the V1 to V2. And I think a big difference, the amount of prep, showing that you research, right? I think to quote Sam McKenna, right, show me you know me. That doesn't just apply to sales. It has a really great crossover with content. The more research that you do, the more people feel like they're respected and they tend to open up and treat you as credible.
My favorite example of this is something that happened this week. So during the roundtables, Devin Reed had someone that I'd interviewed at his roundtable. We had interviewed Devin when we were at Spring. So Devin was a part of the V1 of this. The V2 being here at Drive, that person said how amazing the interview was and then also had the research report and was raving to Devin about it. And Devin just thought how cool it was of like, hey, he was a part of V1. He saw everything that we did to level it up for the V2. And then he had somebody in our ICP raving about what we did. Evan and Ray, if you're watching this, like that's why we put the prep into this. And that was the biggest compliment, second biggest compliment of the week. Biggest was Dave saying that golf was the favorite piece of content he's ever done.
That's a cool moment.
Yes.
That's cool.
Thinking about content, creation is half the battle, but distribution is essential if you want any type of content success. So as a marketing leader, how are you thinking about distribution for your content?
I have 3 final interviews for a senior content marketing manager tomorrow afternoon. That is one of the big things in the paid work assignment that they are presenting. So I know that we are not doing the best job of distributing our content right now.
It's hard.
Well, it's hard, and it's just as important, if not more important, than actually creating the content. You got to make sure that people are actually seeing it. I'm trying to hire for somebody who can think like that, and I'm really excited with who we're talking to. I'll give you a much better answer 6 months from now of like, hey, we're really making a dent in this, but we've got a long way to go.
Yeah, what's been the biggest challenge?
You have to really prioritize distribution and make the time for distribution. It's not something you just do once. It's like a muscle that you have to keep building, and if you keep doing it and you have to stay committed to it, like what Ross Simmons talks about. Like you don't just, publish it once and hope people come and see it that one time. It's, create once, distribute forever. So I think for me, it's just really staying focused and committed to distributing all the time. It has always been the hardest part, and with a marketing team of 2, soon to be 3, we'll have more time to do that. And then I think the other thing that's challenging is like knowing where to spend your time to distribute that content. I've fallen into the trap before where be on every channel and like let's half-ass like 10 different channels. It's like no, let's whole ass like 2 of these and really focus on it and do it well. So that's the other big learning I've had.
A big part of our process here was being very intentional with selecting the folks that we want to interview. Explain to us your thought process behind that.
Yeah, so I'm going to give away the secret sauce here a little bit. So what I wanted to do was just see who in our ICP was going to be here and use it more of as an ABM play. Simple as that.
As that correlation with 3 years ago, everyone was doing Zoom podcasts, right? And that was the format. And the playbook was, hey, let's have an ABM approach to this. But I think what happened was that content format oversaturated the market. The distance that's created when you're remote and you're looking, you feel like you're on a webinar talking to people, right? People have their guards up. But I think to do an in-person interview, it's not even an interview, it's a conversation. We're hanging out, right? And I think that really tears down the walls and you get a stronger human connection.
Absolutely. I think when we've been prepping and getting people mic'd up as soon as they come in here, you said it best, it's a conversation. It's not like this, boring, overly structured interview. Like, we've got seed questions that are specific to each person. We're gonna go off script, we're gonna see where the conversation takes us, and I think that's a good thing.
I think also, besides just being an ABM play, it's also, it's a collaborative distribution play too with these events. Everyone has, their audiences and their social networks to be able to tap into those for your own distribution. Running a play like this, it's a win-win for all sides involved.
I think because it's still a relatively new thing in B2B marketing, people are genuinely excited to be involved in this. Therefore, when they get the final clips, they want to share it. People are so bored of the Zoom podcast format that they've done it a million times. Like, I'm guilty of this. If I'm on somebody's boring podcast, I'm not sharing it. If it's a different format and a different medium, I absolutely will share it. So I think that's definitely true with all the people that we've interviewed and how big their followings are.
It speaks to the concept of you want to lead with value. And a lot of executives and leaders nowadays recognize the importance of content, having a personal brand, having a professional brand. But not everyone is well-versed in setting up in-person interviews, creating high-quality content on video for themselves. So to be able to come to someone with, hey, we're not trying to sell you or sign you up for a demo, we just want to have a conversation and add value to you, create great content. It's a much more powerful way to open up a relationship than to say, can I sell you my stuff?
Clip that.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mark.
I thought we did an unreal job for the V2, so I can't wait to see what the V3 looks like whenever we figure out when and where.